I've always had a passion for being around and learning about animals. When I was younger, going to zoos and animal parks was always a part of my life. I wanted to share my passion with family and friends, so I started working with people that loved animals as much as I did, and my YouTube channel was born. Welcome back to my animal education series. Today I'm here with Chris to talk about pollinators. Hello.
Hello.
So first off, we should talk about what is a pollinator.
Basically, a pollinator is any animal that will move pollen between flowers. Bees are the most familiar and the most well known, but the common pollinators also include butterflies and moths, flies, which flies are so much more than just house flies that people know. That could be a whole interview by itself, is the importance of flies, but also beetles, birds, and bats, and others as well.
Before I came here, I did a little bit of background research, and I always thought it was bees and hummingbirds that were the main pollinators, and then I did my research, and there's so many more than you realize.
Yes. For example, most people don't realize that there's over 3,000 species of bee that live here in North America. So much more than just honeybees and bumblebees.
So how does the decline in the bee population going to affect humans and agriculture in general?
For agriculture in particular, we can't have most of the food plants that we currently have without bees. I could give you a list that would take, minutes to rattle off of the number of plants that depend on bees. All kinds of fruits, vegetables, crops of all kinds will not reproduce or will not make fruits without bee pollination. So to sum that up, if we didn't have any bees, we wouldn't have any fruits. We wouldn't have any vegetables. The only thing we'd really be left with are things that the wind pollinates, like rice and wheat and oats.
And that's a very boring diet to have.
Very boring, yeah.
So to help benefit the bees and other pollinators, what can people do around their house
Luckily,
to benefit them?
Luckily, this is an area where people can make a real meaningful impact. What the bees and the butterflies and all the other pollinators need is more flowers. They depend on flowers for pollen and nectar, and the butterflies depend on plants for a place to lay eggs and raise their caterpillars. What people can do is install wildflower gardens using native plants right in their own backyard. And even if you have 1 square foot or an acre, you can make a difference. For butterflies in particular, if you look up the host plants, what are known as host plants, that's the particular plant where each caterpillar is going to be able to feed. So the mother butterflies always look for these host plants as a place to lay their eggs. Gardeners can easily attract butterflies to their yards by researching host plants for the butterflies they're interested in and planting those.
Kind of like these milkweeds here.
That's a great example. Milkweed, which is this flower in bloom right here, is a host plant for the monarch butterfly, one of our most famous butterflies for sure, one that is of conservation concern too, as their numbers have been declining over the past several decades. But for people who grow milkweed in their gardens, they do see monarch butterflies laying eggs on them and monarch caterpillars, which supports the species.
Which is very good.
Which is very good. And the same is true for bees. Bees need food, which is nectar. Bees need blooming things. So by putting in blooming flowers, you're going to have a real positive impact on bees too.
Just, as you said, like a little foot or an acre. Every bit helps.
Well, that's just it. And the message there is that everyone can make a difference too. If you have a tiny little yard in the city, you can put some plants in. If you live out in the country and have acres and acres, you can put more plants in. That's great.
But what else is there to see here besides just the butterfly house?
So the butterfly house has the butterfly flight house and these outdoor gardens where we're standing now that are attempting to show people how they can install a pollinator garden on their own land. We also have a movie that's very good for all ages. We have education programs throughout the year, including a Firefly Festival in June. And people can always go to our website, butterflyhouse.org, if they want to know what family events are coming up, or if they want to know more about the Firefly Festival and the other events that we do.
You guys also have like little education boards for also people to read.
Education is very much a part of our mission. We try to educate people about how to encourage local Missouri butterflies in their yards. We try to educate people about the importance of bees and all the other pollinators. As we were just talking about, we want people to know that there are much more out there doing the job of pollination than just honeybees. And we want people to not fear them, but to welcome them when they see them in their yard.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, for telling us about all these pollinators and how to help them out. It's very informative to me, and I bet a ton of other people.
You're welcome.
And if you guys enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, and also check out my Instagram @ColeShirk. As always, I'll see you next week.